The next section that we're looking at is solving verbal systems of equations. And in doing this, we're going to use a few different methods to help us solve our verbal system of equations, these word problems. The first thing that we always know we need to do when we're solving a verbal system of equations is start with let statements. So have let x equal and let y equal. And in this case, we can write that right before we even start our problem. So now I'm going to read the problem. Joe's car has broken down and he isn't sure how much it will cost to get fixed. He calls two mechanics to get quotes and they give him the following information. So this is the information that we're going to be using to solve this problem. Mechanic A says that the parts to fix the car will be $800 plus $75 per hour for the labor necessary to fix the car. Mechanic B says the parts of the car will be $500 plus $125 per hour for the labor to fix the car. So we're going to use these two pieces of information to get our two equations of lines that we're going to create our system out of. So in this case, x is going to equal the number of hours and y is going to equal the cost. For a lot of other systems, we can choose to let x equal one thing and y to equal the other, but in this case, the cost depends on the number of hours, so x is going to be the number of hours and y is going to be the cost. So now we want to get an equation for each of the two mechanics. So for mechanic A, it says it'll cost $800 for the parts and then $75 for the labor necessary to fix the car. So we know our equations are going to be in the form y equals mx plus b. So for this one, our slope, the m, will be 75 because that's our rate of change. That's how much they're going to charge per hour. So we have y equals 75x. And then no matter how many hours it takes, we're going to have to pay 800. So that would be our y-intercept. So we would have plus 800. Okay? Now for mechanic B, we're going to do a similar thing. We're going to have y equals, and then the cost per hour is 125. So we're going to have 125x plus whatever we have to pay either way. So in this case, 500. So right here, these two equations will be our system of equations in this case. So now we're going to look at question A. And it says, for how many hours would the cost be the same no matter which company Ivan chose? Show your work. Always want to show your work. So we have two equations, and both equations are helping us figure out the cost to Ivan. So if we wanted to see when the cost is the same, we could set these two equations equal to each other. So we could take our red equation, so 75x plus 800, set it equal to our blue equation, 125x plus 500. Now it's as simple as solving for x. So I'm going to solve for x in green. So first thing I would do is get all my x's on one side. So I'm going to subtract 75x here and on this side. And I'm going to get 800 equals 50x plus 500. And subtract 500 from both sides to get x alone. I'm going to get 300 equals 50x. Divide by 50. I'm going to get x equals 6. So what this means is at 6 hours, the cost will be the same no matter which mechanic Ivan chooses. The last question in this section asks, if Ivan thought that his furnace was going to take approximately 8 hours to fix, which company should he choose? So in this case, we know how long it's going to take to fix, and we just need to see which has the higher total cost. So we can figure out for both mechanic A and mechanic B, the total cost using those equations we found in the first part. So for mechanic A, our equation was y equals 75x plus 800. And like we saw in our let statement, x is going to be the number of hours, and that's what we know in this case. We said approximately 8 hours. So we're going to plug in 8 for x. So we'd have y equals 75 times 8 plus 800. That would be y equals 600 plus 800, or y equals $1,400. We can do something similar for mechanic B. His equation was y equals 125x plus 500. Let me fix that. Should be a 500. Then we would plug in 8 for x again in this equation. So y equals 125 times 8 plus 500. Y equals 125 times 8 is 1,000 plus 500. Or y equals $1,500. So mechanic A costs $1,400, mechanic B costs $1,500. So Ivan would want to choose mechanic A because he's cheaper. So that's the answer to the last problem. So to recap, when you have a problem like this, you want to find the equations for any appropriate sentence you have. So in this case, we had mechanic A and mechanic B. We found the equations for both of those, and then you use those to solve the questions that they pose.